Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see, and have not seen it. To hear what you hear, and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise, and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
There goes another one, right there.
Oh, he's over. He rolled
over. He rolled over. Oh, my gosh.
Freezing rain turned Interstate 40 into a sheet of ice in Oklahoma on Friday, sending cars and trucks careening off the road. Some drivers opted to wait for a thaw.
Better safe than sorry. The same way you leave home, the same way, you kind of want to make it back.
Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin and Missouri Governor Eric Greitens declared states of emergency. And in neighboring Kansas, the National Guard mobilized to help stranded drivers. Across the central U.S., thousands lost power and hundreds of flights were canceled or delayed. Road crews rushed to remove a glaze of ice that covered cars.
Looks like I have a window of ice.
Toppled trees and hung from road signs. The NFL time-shifted Sunday's playoff game in Kansas City, Missouri, giving the Chiefs and Steelers a Sunday night kickoff to avoid the storm. In Kansas, Governor Sam Brownback warned of a long weekend.
Make sure all your electronic devices are charged.
Emergency workers responded to a pair of multi-car pileups overnight in Wichita.
Well, then a car next to me panics. They hit their brakes hard and they sideswipe me, and then I start spinning.
And a reminder to slow down on treacherous roads. This snowplow driver in Utah is still recovering after a passing tractor trailer forced him down a 300-foot embankment.
To Turkey now, where Deputy Prime Minister Numan Kurtulmaz has said that police have killed a would-be suicide bomber who tried to enter the main police station in the southeastern province of Gaziantep. Security forces are conducting an operation to capture other suspected terrorists who fled the site. Police in Gaziantep were instrumental in cracking down on the flow of ISIL's foreign fighters into Syria. The province is located on the border with Syria and faces areas previously controlled by the militant group.
Russia and China have again expressed concern over the deployment of a U.S. missile system to South Korea. The Russian Foreign Ministry has stated that deploying the THAAD missile system to the Korean peninsula is, quote, destructive and could damage regional stability. The statement follows 6 rounds of talks between Moscow and Beijing on the security of Southeast Asia. During the talks, both delegations stressed that the situation developing on the peninsula has a high potential of conflict. Diplomats also said some countries are seeking to further heighten tension and boost the arms race in the region. Washington and Seoul say the deployment of the missile system is to deter threats from North Korea.
Thousands have taken to the streets in northern Gaza to protest chronic power outages during the cold winter season. The demonstrators, as they marched towards the headquarters of an electricity company, were dispersed by Hamas security forces wielding batons. Nearly 2 million residents now get just 4 hours of power per day. A spokesperson for the Gaza Electrical Distribution Company says the available electricity capacity doesn't even cover a quarter of demand. Protests in Gaza are rare but have grown as a result of worsening electricity crisis.
The normally lively streets of the state capital, Srinagar, turned into a battleground on Friday, with protesters throwing stones and petrol bombs at police, and police firing back with tear gas.
We're protesting because we want freedom. We don't have any weapons with us. No guns, we just have stones. We throw stones because we want freedom.
Over the last 6 months, at least 76 people have been killed in the worst unrest in the Kashmir Valley for 6 years. Another 7,000 have been wounded. The riots were sparked by the shooting death of Burhan Wani by Indian soldiers in July last year. The 22-year-old used social media to call on Kashmiris to fight against India. His death mobilized thousands of activists, which prompted a major security crackdown.
We're protesting for freedom. We live under a tyrannical and oppressive government. So many people have been martyred that the land is full of graveyards. We want to send the government a message that there is no democracy here.
India and Pakistan have fought for control of Kashmir for decades and have gone to war 3 times. The region is administered by India and is the only Indian state which is predominantly Muslim. The government has eased curfews in some areas, but the region remains under tight security.
The United Nations says the humanitarian crisis created by Boko Haram's, quote, violent and inhuman campaign is worsening. Speaking to the Security Council, the UN humanitarian chief said over 10 million people were in need of aid in the Lake Chad region. Stephen O'Brien cited northeast Nigeria and parts of Cameroon, Chad and Niger as the areas affected. O'Brien said the crisis had dramatically grown over the past year. Since 2009, the terrorist group has killed thousands of civilians. A regional force has retaken most of the territory Boko Haram once controlled, but raids and bombings by the Takfiri group continue to cause widespread death and destruction.
The Polish Prime Minister on Saturday welcomed thousands of U.S. troops under a NATO deployment to the country, which is being seen as a show of force of Russia. In the largest U.S. military reinforcement in decades, the 2,700 troops are part of Operation Atlantic Resolve, which aims to beef up and train Eastern European allies. The move has resulted in a sharp rebuke by the Kremlin, which labeled the deployment as an aggressive step along Russia's borders.
Of course, we will be forced to take into consideration in our military defense planning U.S. military preparations aimed against Russia, including the Baltic states. We hope the new U.S. administration will not go on this obviously deadlocked path, and one can say that this is not just a deadlocked route, but a path that provokes confrontation between our countries.
Russia says it has deployed an S-400 air defense missile system in Crimea. The announcement comes the day after the arrival of thousands of U.S. troops in Poland as part of NATO's military buildup in Eastern Europe. The S-400 is Russia's most advanced anti-aircraft defense system and was also deployed in Syria in 2015.
In a further sign of Russia's long-term commitment to Syria, Moscow plans to upgrade and expand its naval and air bases in the country. Officials say Moscow will begin repairing a second runway at the Hmeimim Air Base near Latakia, while the Tartus naval base will be upgraded to handle bigger ships such as cruisers. Sources say Russia aims to cement its presence in the Arab country, where it is helping the government of President Bashar al-Assad combat an array of foreign-backed militants and Takfiri terrorist groups. Russia, Iran, and Turkey are preparing for peace talks in the Kazakh capital Astana later this month.
To Paris now, where major powers are preparing to send a message to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump that a two-state solution between Israelis and Palestinians is the only way forward. They're also expected to warn that his plan to move the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem could derail peace efforts. Some 70 countries, including key European and Arab states, as well as the permanent members of the UN Security Council, will join the meeting. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected it as futile and rigged. Neither the Israelis nor the Palestinians will be represented. But just 5 days before Trump is sworn in, the conference provides a platform for countries to send a strong signal to the future American leader.
In California, the National Weather Service is warning of a life-threatening blizzard tonight in the Sierra Nevada.
The floodgates have opened in Northern California, releasing billions of gallons of water. It's the first time in 11 years these on the Sacramento River have been released to prevent flooding in downtown Sacramento. In the wine country of Sonoma County, the volatile Russian River has flooded some 500 homes and roads have been turned into lakes. Gusts up to 60 miles an hour have knocked down trees, even as crews prune branches to give them a better chance of standing. In the Sierra Nevada mountains, the wind, along with heavy snow and avalanche warnings, have forced the closing of I-80, the main highway linking California and Nevada. Mountain towns are digging out from the heaviest snowfall they've seen in years.
Well, winter can obviously be brutal, but especially, one could argue, for this guy or gal. It's obviously a fox found perfectly horribly frozen. A hunter in Germany, in fact, stumbled upon the animal, or the ice cube. He says that it fell into an icy river and apparently drowned. This block, in fact, was cut out of the ice and put on display to warn of the river's dangers, as if it would appear any warning was so needed.